Peace. Waz came for Waz Words Media, and now that media day is over, we had a few days to fully digest the big bomb that the Oklahoma City Thunder dropped on the NBA with making a huge deal for Carmelo Anthony, sending Enes Kanter and Doug McBuckets over to the New York Knicks. Now, where does the Oklahoma City stand? You saw Hoodie Mello was in the building, Hoodie and all that. So now that Hoodie Mello has made his official appearance in OKC, where does the Oklahoma City Thunder stand? Do they have enough to beat the Golden State Warriors? I will have to say at this point, yes. I believe I'm all in that the Oklahoma City Thunder, with this latest acquisition, have what it takes to beat the Golden State Warriors. Why is that? Let's go back a couple months ago. The first big major deal that the Oklahoma City Thunder did was acquiring Boy George, aka PG-13, my man Paul George. When they got Boy George, one of the things that we have to understand is there's only one team that gave the Golden State Warriors any problems last year. They cruised through the season, especially through the finals. But there's only one team that had their number. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. The only team that beat them in a season series last year was the San Antonio Spurs. What was the key to their success, you may ask? It was defensive play at the perimeter. You must have a solid wing defensive player to compete with the Golden State Warriors. And in that, saying that, you have Kawhi Leonard, the best two-way player in the entire NBA, who was able to sustain Kevin Durant, lock him down on one end, but at the next end, put up as many buckets as he chose to. The first day they played opening night last year. Opening night, they went on to beat Golden State by 30-something points, spoiling their home opener with the addition of Kevin Durant. Then they beat them later on in the year by like 20-something, 28 points or something like that. Then when we went into the playoffs, you saw game one of the Western Conference Finals. They started to beat them the same way that they were beating them throughout the year. It was no coincidence. Solid defensive play on the wing in the perimeter by Kawhi Leonard was able to hold down Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant only had 8 points at halftime. Remember, people, he had 8 points at halftime, while Kawhi Leonard still had 28 points at halftime while they were holding a 25-point lead. That is key. Now, who are the best perimeter or two-way players in the league? Kawhi Leonard's number one, but for the number 2 and number 3 spot, you have a debate. It's either Jimmy Butler or PG-13. Boy George can defend and score. So now the Oklahoma City Thunder added someone who can defend against Kevin Durant on an elite level. You also have Roberson, who now can solely worry about containing Klay Thompson instead of having to deal with a longer, taller, Kevin Durant. He can just focus on Klay Thompson because he's a solid defender in himself. Then you have Paul George, who can just take care of Kevin Durant or at least slow him down. That's what you need. Somebody that will not let him go off the way that he went off in these finals. And my man PG-13, being one of the best two-way players in the entire NBA, has that ability to slow him down while putting up his buckets on the other end. So now, with all that said, they seem like they had a pretty solid chance going into the season until they dropped the and they set the NBA world ablaze with the addition of my man, Stay Mellow, the guard, Carmelo Anthony, came to OKC. Carmelo Anthony gives them that much needed third option of scoring. When you have a Russell Westbrook that can take over a game. You have a Paul George that can take over a game. And now a Carmelo Anthony, a third option, a third juggernaut when it comes to the offensive end of the basketball court. They have a formidable big three that can take on anybody in the league. And I think this deal automatically pushes them over San Antonio Spurs, because the San Antonio Spurs, they deal with a lot of injury issues because a lot of their players are over 30 years old, and that comes with the territory. But Kawhi Leonard is probably their youngest player, or their most pivotal player, and he's the youngest at that age. So they need more help. You know, they brought in Rudy Gay. Rudy Gay is a very good player, very solid player to have off the bench, but I don't think they did enough, you know, outside of Rudy Gay to try to compete on the next level against Golden State. But I think the Oklahoma City Thunder, they changed their roster by leaps and bounds drastically. You went from your second option and third option being Victor Oladipo and Enes Kanter, to your second and third options being now Carmelo Anthony and Boy George. And Boy George, Paul George can ball. Y'all do y'all remember in the first round of these playoffs, he gave LeBron James a headache. They almost won the first game. That game went to the wire. Then I think it was either game 2 or game 3. They were up by 25 in the first half. But that was another sinking ship over there in Indiana, and George didn't really have the help he needed. But now, over here, these two guys playing with the current, a better version of Russell Westbrook than Kevin Durant played with. This is the MVP Russell Westbrook, the Russell Westbrook that looks to involve his players. If he averaged 10, 12 assists with Andre Roberson and Enes Kanter, imagine how many assists he's going to rack up when he dribble, penetrate, and pass and finds a wide open Carmelo Anthony, or finds a wide open Paul George. PG-13 on one end, Carmelo on the other end. You have a solid pickup that they did. This was one of those under-the-radar moves that they made, which was for Patrick Patterson from the Toronto Raptors. Patterson's a very, very solid defender, rebounder, blue-collar type of player. You know, if you're a fan like myself of the hardcore 94 Knicks, he kind of gives you that reminder of like an Oakley or Mason, you know? And that's solid. You have one of the Grant brothers, very athletic, coming off the bench. And these are the type of moves that you need to make in order to win a championship. You know, you need solid role playing, you need solid bench play, and you need a 1-2 punch. And in today's league, that 1-2-3 can get you over any hump. Well, this is my time. My baby's calling. To the next one. Peace.